Welcome to the Generation Kids Daily Devo podcast, where we move from wonder to worship, looking for God at work in the world around us, ready to ask the tough questions and discover what His Word has to say to us. Today's episode is titled, Awfully Fulfilling, and it comes from me, Casey Taylor. Have you ever been offered something to eat that you've always thought was probably disgusting just because of how people on some show you watch talked about it? Or because it just looked like something that probably wouldn't be good to eat? You've never tried it and you've never discovered on your own that you didn't like it, but you just knew somehow that it wouldn't be something you'd want, and you aggressively sought to find a way not to eat the thing that had been offered.
No, thank you.
Or if it was your parents, maybe you weren't offered as much as you were instructed and commanded to eat it.
Do you know what time it is?
This is how I felt about salad for a long time. All I'd ever heard on TV shows, movies, or from other kids was that only super healthy people ate salad. It was the food that people ate when they tried to control themselves from eating all the really bad food that they wanted, like chicken nuggets, pizzas, burgers, French fries, drinking sodas, or eating candy. Basically, all of the things that were pretty much the only things that I actually wanted to eat when I was growing up. Because of the reputation salad had in my life, because of how people talked about it, I felt pretty confident that me and salad wouldn't be a good mix.
Gross.
Then, when I was a bit older and a little more able to think outside of the ways that I'd grown up thinking about food, I reasoned that even if I didn't like it, it definitely wasn't going to kill me, because it's literally the alternative to the bad things, which people always said might actually and eventually kill everyone if that's all that they ate. So I thought, maybe I should just give it a go. A friend offered me a spinach leaf salad, which I'd never had, which had strawberries, which I loved, and almonds, which I also loved, as well as some feta cheese, which, again, huge fan of, and a poppy seed dressing, which I knew absolutely nothing about. So I thought, hey, there's a 60% chance that I'm going to enjoy at least some of this, so here goes. And that, my friends, was the day that I learned that not only did I like those ingredients within the salad, I actually loved the combination of those things with the spinach leaves. I actually liked a salad. In fact, I really loved it, so much so that I couldn't wait to have it again. This was the thing that I thought of when I read today's passage, and the next beatitude from Matthew 5, verse 6.
Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Matthew 5:6.
If you've ever been around anyone who seems super religious, or spent time with people who always tried to follow a set of rules to live by, they might have seemed super stuffy to you. Maybe they seemed like they didn't have as much fun as other people. The impression you got about them might not, however, represent the full reality of their lives. In this verse, Jesus is telling us that there are people who actually hunger and thirst for righteousness, for doing things God's way, and living their lives free from sin as much as possible. For those of us who struggle to do the right things sometimes, to be around people who are fighting to do the right things can make us feel a little inadequate or even bad about ourselves. Because just like eating fried foods or sweets is what many of us want to do all the time, when people always eat healthy salads for lunch around us, we can start to feel like, well, I guess I'm just an unhealthy couch potato. But the truth is, we might not have developed a taste for righteousness because we've never really experienced the life that comes from living God's way. There's a verse in Proverbs 14:12 that talks about how there are ways that seem right to a person, but when those ways are followed, they lead to death. Kinda like eating junk food every day might for our bodies which need proper nourishment and things that help our bodies grow and thrive. In my life, when I realized that the life Jesus called me to live wasn't just something that He said was right, but that, like eating a salad and realizing it was not only healthy but enjoyable, living life God's way and doing things He says will bring me life actually made me want to do it more because I liked it. I liked how I felt, and I liked who I was when I was following Jesus' lead. That is what today's verse is saying. That when we learn to hunger and thirst for righteousness or right living, God will be delighted to fill us and satisfy that hunger. Basically, He wants good things for us. He wants us to see that when we want good things that come on God's terms, He wants us to have those good things, and He'll provide the goodness that comes through righteousness. So don't leave it too late and take a bite out of all that God has for you. You might just find that not only is it not what you expected it to be, it's much better. And you might actually develop a hunger and a thirst for righteousness that God can't help but want to fill you with and bring satisfaction to your soul.
Now it's time for
Today's Big Question!
Today's big question is, what's something that you thought would be gross or awful, that once you tried it, you learned it was actually not that bad and might even be something you enjoyed? What might that tell you about how not everything we fear or expect to be bad will be bad? Pray that God would give you strength to walk in the ways that He says will bring you life, and ask Him to fill you as you do. Thanks for listening to the Generation Kids Daily Devo podcast. If you want to keep in touch with us on all our social media platforms, check out the links in the description. And if you'd like to help support us as we continue to create meaningful content for kids of all generations, please subscribe to our Patreon by visiting us at patreon.com/wearegenerationkids.